Great to be back together again. It is our fall economic summit. So I know the weather outside is still beautiful. I hear it's going to cool off a little bit this weekend, but tonight's theme, is every day we play to win. What we have tonight is an incredible lineup put together for you, where we'll spend the next 2 hours kind of going over economic updates, telling you the ins and outs of the market, sharing some insight and giving you some feedback. So we've got a wealth of information that we'll continue to go over for you tonight. But what we thought, with the theme of every day we play to win, we invited a couple of our great Toledo walleye players to come out. So we've got Brandon Hawkins and Gordi Myers that is here. And if I could ask you to join, if you're a big walleye fan like I am, if we could give these guys a big round of applause for coming out and hanging out with us. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So Brandon and I, we did an interview just recently on WSBD, and if you missed that interview, you can stop over to our YouTube channel and watch the whole interview that we did. But tonight I wanted to kind of share some of the things that we were talking about, and the discussion of what are some of the characteristics, what are some of the life lessons you can learn from hockey. And as many of you know, I have raised my boys playing hockey their entire life. In fact, Carter's in the back, so Carter, to put you on the spot if you want to raise your hand for us. So that's Carter in the back, so he came and he joined us tonight. Carter is currently playing AA travel hockey for the Toledo Cherokee. He's a defensive man. And his oldest brother, who a lot of you who've been to the economic summits in the past have met before, is an offensive man. So I thought that would be a good starting point, right? If we look at it, you've got an offensive guy, you've got a defensive guy. The old adage, if you think about it, is, championships are won by defense. And if I asked you guys, I'd say, does defense or offense win games?
Sure. Mine's probably going to be offense, because you can't win games without scoring goals. But in the end, if you have a good offensive attack plan, I think that you're taken care of on any given day. But traditionally, I'd say championships aren't won without goaltending.
Yeah, which is defense, basically. Yeah, I always think it's even if the guys who play offense and score all the goals, like if they're playing defense and everyone's committed to the same plan, and everyone's we talk about 5 guys playing defense all together, getting out of our zone and going on the offensive attack. It definitely starts in that defensive zone. So I would say, yeah, defense probably does win championships.
That really does. And, tonight I invited Joshua from First Trust. He spoke in February for those of you that were at our February event. He's going to be coming by. He's going to be talking about some things. He's going to be sharing a couple of different ideas tonight as far as depending upon where your outlook is in the market. So, right now with the market being down 25 or 30%, depending upon what index that you look at, there's definitely some great strategies right now that would allow you to go on offense if you want to try to take advantage of what's out there. He'll share a couple ideas. I'll talk about a couple of different ideas. At the same point, one of the other big questions that we have is, where are we at in the economy? Where are we at in the market? If things get worse, what steps can we take, to build up some of our defense and how to apply that to your situation? So, we'll share some of those. And I think, my experience just in all the years of watching my kids play hockey is you've got to have great offense and defense, right? So they go together, and you got to have a great goalie, that can sit in the net, and it all comes together to kind of create a great team. To me, I would say, when I have watched my boys play over the years, there's sometimes where they're getting down and out, right? You're down 3-0. And I think last weekend was the first example. We were playing against Sylvania down 2-0. And our boys have this habit of sometimes letting that get in their head. And they give up, right? So it's 2-0, they're like, the game's already over, it's second period, we might as well just go out there and, body check some people, or just, have some fun and call it a day. But like last weekend, they kept their head in the game. They went back out there, and, when the buzzer rang on the end of the third period, we beat Sylvania 3-2, because they stayed in the game. As an investor, when you look at your statements and you look at things and the market's down, you kind of feel like you're getting beat up. You know, one of the mistakes that I oftentimes see investors make is they will give up and they will abandon ship. So if you think about it, the market goes down, they panic, they say, I can't keep losing money, it's going to go to zero, I just need to get out and cash out now before it's done and over with. But, you know, from a hockey perspective and from, you know, what your team and what you've learned over the years, you know, what are some of the things that you need to do when you're down and out, you feel like you're going to lose, you know, how do you stay in the game?
I think big time is positivity. And we had a game in playoffs this year where we were down 5-1 going into the third period, and we came back, we won 6-5 in overtime. It was all because our whole team kept a positive mindset. You know, I live every day in my own idea that I'm living in paradise every day. And if I'm positive and I'm living that way, a lot of things will go my way, whether I'm down and out on my luck or something goes wrong, it usually turns around because of my positive attitude towards things.
Yeah, and to build off that, I think we always just focus on controlling what we can control. You know, first period's over, we're down 3 goals, like what can we do to keep, you know, working and trying to score a goal or just keep playing the right way? A lot of times it comes down to your habits. So I always got to have good habits in practice because you keep building on it over and over, eventually it leads to positive things. And, you know, I think a lot of times last year we were the team that was up a lot of goals, you know, because we scored so many goals and we were such a great team. And, you know, third period come around and it's 6-1 and, you know, the team comes back and it's 6-4 all of a sudden, you know, we're like, all right, well, we got a game. And, you know, so I think any teams like that, they try to focus on what they can do to, you know, keep chipping away and doing the right things.
Yeah, so, you know, a positive attitude makes a ton of sense, and stay positive, you know, look for where there are opportunities, and it's like, literally, it's every shift is what you go in, it's just one shift at a time.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily, you know, what the period was, or, you know, what happened in yesterday's game on a Friday night, it's Saturday, let's play some hockey, and, you know, go to town. If it's third period, it's all over, right, so you know there's no chance of coming back. Who's the biggest fighter?
Probably Hurdy.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have to get anyone, he's probably the toughest guy in the league at that point.
Yeah.
But he's also skilled, so he's double trouble.
Yeah, it's a
Double trouble.
Yeah, or Cole Frazier. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's been to the games. Probably seen Cole Frazier fight, but yeah, those two for sure.
Well, we have the same thing, whether it's Cherokee or whether it's high school hockey. You kind of know who the enforcers are on the team and what's going on out there. They say, you know, you skate to where the puck is. My kids have been skating probably about the time they could walk. And if I go back to the early days, what you would see this mosh pit of 20 kids all going in the same direction.
A good old bunch of them.
Yeah, and then usually the goalie's out kind of twirling around in the corner not looking at what's going on. You know, the term skate to the puck is really, you know, talking about you go to where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is at.
Yep.
And if we think about it, you know, like today we're going to give an economic update. So we're going to be talking about how inflation's record high, mortgage rates are, you know, back to record highs. You've got the Federal Reserve aggressively raising rates. You've got, you know, energy prices have been kind of out of control. We've got a lot of people, and a lot of people, what they do is they make financial decisions based upon today's news. You know, so they'll be looking at things and they'll be like, well, inflation's at 8%, so I better make a change to my portfolio. And what they don't realize is that the market is reacting not to today, not to where today is. The market is making decisions about, you know, where they think things are going to be in 12 to 18 months. So like we had some manufacturing numbers that came out this week. The manufacturing numbers were weaker than expected. And the Federal Reserve has been aggressively raising interest rates to try to combat things. And what the market doesn't like is the market doesn't like the Fed aggressively raising interest rates because, you know, they believe that they could crash the economy kind of like they have done so far if they get too aggressive. They want what's called this soft landing. So with the news that came out this week with them, you know, manufacturing numbers, the market has been rallying since, you know, Monday. So Monday was a good day, Tuesday was a good day. You know, I think the market turned out, you know, started negative, it came back later today too. The term of skate to where the puck is, you know, how do you apply those type of principles? Or, you know, for those people here that maybe aren't necessarily hockey players, you know, what does that mean to you when you're playing your game?
Well, situational, it's anticipation. There's a saying in hockey where good players go to where the puck's going, great players go to the puck 2 plays ahead, and then Wayne Gretzky went to the puck three plays ahead. So it's all about anticipation, but in reality, in hockey and different things, you understand that history repeats itself a bit. So it's if you understand and you can anticipate certain plays and different things, and you stay patient with what you do, a lot of things will come out on top your own way.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing, anticipation. I think you play the game long enough, you get to a certain level. If you don't know how to anticipate the play and read the play, we call it hockey IQ, then you're not going to make it very far. And so I think it's probably the most important thing there is. You know, you might see players who, you know, they're not the biggest, they're not the fastest, they might not have the best shot or the most skill, but if their hockey IQ is pretty high, then they're going to be successful.
I would agree. So, you know, for those of you tonight, when you're taking notes, what I would encourage you to do is to make sure that you try to think about, with your portfolio, with your investments, what's the move that you should be making for, not today, but for 2 plays ahead. Gretzky was 3 plays ahead?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to be like Wayne Gretzky and be, you know, rock and roll, then try to be thinking about, where do I be 3 steps ahead? That's what we're taking a look at when we're trying to, you know, figure out how we're building out the portfolios, is how do we go to where we think things are going to be, not necessarily where things are at today, you know, with today's news. We also try, like what you said, is focus on what you can control. Don't dwell too much on, you know, what you can't control. If we talk about, you know, a great team, first of all, I want to give a big round of applause and a thanks to my team who's in the back there. A special big thanks to Jenny. So Jenny is our events coordinator, and she coordinated tonight's event and put all of this together. You did a fantastic job, so we really appreciate, you know, all the great things that they have. You know, what's unique about my team is they have so many great strengths. And, you know, we all have weaknesses. I could sit here all night long and tell you all my weaknesses, and at 46-year-old, they're probably going to be my weaknesses, right? I can continually try to improve, but, you know, what I found is I try to focus on what my strengths are and keep using my strengths. And then where my weaknesses are, that's where I bring in great team players. What would you say about, and you know, we've had seasons in hockey where we've had great teams, and we've had teams that's like, I don't even want to go to hockey this week, and it's terrible. Like the Toledo Cherokee, when we were playing for a couple of years, that was like family. Like we were all a team. I mean, these boys, they knew where to be, what positions they were, and it means something when you can count on the guy next to you, and you know he's got your back, whether it's, you know, I'm going to go in and take the shot, he's going to step back to the blue line and protect me, or whether it's the goalie and I'm going to shove him and get him out, you know, sitting in front of the net. That makes a big difference. What would you say about, you know, having a great team and the impact, like the Walleyes and the team? Like, what are the characteristics or what are the things that you do to help build a great team?
I think the big thing is you try to create a team to combat everybody. So you want to mesh well as a group and have that camaraderie as a family you're talking about. My whole idea is Gordi skates extremely fast. I try to find open spaces and shoot the puck. We complement each other in that way. My assets are offense, his assets are defense. So when I'm not my best, he's at his best, and when he's not his best, I'm at my best. So it's all about helping each other and combating it in ways that you bring out the best in everything.
Yeah, and I mean, on a hockey team like the Walleye, we have 3 lines of offense that play with each other. We have 3 lines of D who play together, so it's 3 players on offense, 2 players on defense. And for me personally, I've just always, you know, the coach is the one who makes the D pairing. So like I'm paired up with another guy, I don't really get to choose who I'm paired up with. And I've always had the mindset, you know, if I'm paired up with someone that maybe I don't really want to be paired up with, that's his decision, not mine. And what's worked for me is I've always just tried to focus on, well, what can we do to be the best D pair we can be? And, you know, what are my strengths, what are his strengths? And it's the same thing for offense, you know. Hawk's a great goal scorer, he's going to get open, and he's playing with Henzik, who can, you know, distribute the puck. They're going to try to work together the best they can. And if everyone's kind of working in their unit together, and you got 3 lines of D and 3 lines of forward all kind of gelling, and that's what makes up the team. So it's those little parts that, if they're clicking, then the entire team's definitely going to click.
Gets everybody working together, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely takes a great team to kind of put it all together. You mentioned a minute ago, you talked about, you can learn a little bit from the past, to kind of predict where the puck's going to be in the future. And I think, something else that is interesting is an observation that I've made. So Carter is playing high school hockey at Anthony Wayne. So, as a team works together, you really know your team. And then they will do like video night where they'll watch game night on typically a Wednesday before the weekend. So they're watching plays, they're talking about penalty kills, they're talking about how to set up and what they're going to do either to kill a penalty or to go in and score. If you look at it, they're playing postseason now. So one of the interesting things about post-hockey high school is you can't have all the same kids from the same high school team together. So what they do is they take some kids from Waterville, they take some kids from Sylvania, there's some kids from Perrysburg. We get kids from these different hockey teams that come in. And what you find is that the coaching staff has maybe taught different plays for penalty kills. So what you see in the first couple of games that they played this season, the guys were trying to figure out, okay, what's Perrysburg's penalty kill versus my kill, because usually I'm sitting up over here. So the question that I would ask for you guys is the same thing, you're watching the tape if you're going to play the comments and, where you need to be and what the penalty kill play is. But when you're on the ice, it doesn't always work out like the play is. So what do you do when you did all of this, you set it all up, you had it planned exactly how it should go, and things don't go the way the play tape was supposed to roll out?
So basically, as if it completely goes sideways?
Yeah.
All right, so if things go sideways for us, and we have this kind of thing of regroup or go back to the slot. And if things go completely south and we're in a part where everyone's chasing the puck and it looks like mini-mite, everybody's bunching up, it doesn't look right. Everybody come back to the house, which is the slot in between the 2 dots and the net, and go out from there, because then everybody's regrouped and you have your assignment and what guy you want to take from there. And basically it's a great way for us to reset. And if you can reset and do that when chaos is going on in our zone, basically you stop them from scoring over 80% of the time.
Yeah, I think too is when chaos starts to happen, there's usually a lack of communication, and it'll be dead silent out there, and no one's talking to each other, no one's, hey, I got this guy, you got this guy. There's literally zero communication. And so I think, when we're younger in hockey, a lot of times in practice, you won't hear anyone talking on the ice. You go to a pro practice now, guys are screaming for the puck in practice. If there's no one in the arena, everyone's talking. And that just starts when you're younger, and it moves on to when you're older. But it is funny when you get in that situation in a game and just no one's talking, and then we get in the locker room in between periods, it's just like, we just need to communicate. I got this guy, you got this guy, and it's a lot easier when, people are saying, get back to the house, like Hawk said, out from there, and I'm taking this corner, you're taking that corner, I got the D up there, and it's 100 times easier.
So, 2 big takeaways, at least for me, and listening to you guys there. One is when it's total chaos, think about a reset, right? So one of the things, if you think about that, you've come into the office and you've gone through the planning process that we've done, in the beginning phases where we're looking at risk analysis, we're looking at investments and making sure you know what you own. If you feel like it's chaos, come in, we can do a reset, that's so fine, take a look at exactly where we're at. The other thing that you said is communication. So I'm so glad that you're here today because you guys are invested in communication. If you're not following our podcast or our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe. Every week we're putting out, 4 videos on relative content of what's happening that week. So we're trying our best to make sure that we're plugged into communication. If for some reason, like you're not getting emails from us, make sure you let the registration table know. We can keep you plugged in. And I would say communication's a two-way street. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know with your players. So, we're always here. Our team's available. If you want to communicate, reach out to us. As we kind of then wrap up tonight's talk, is there any other final thoughts that you'd like to share with the group tonight about, skills, discipline, or life lessons on, how to win games?
I think the biggest part for me has always been a positive mindset. If you have a positive outlook and you can look at things in a lightful way or in a way that you understand that some things may go bad, but I'll be okay in that type of way, I think you're going to make it a lot farther in life. It's certainly worked for me. So, and I've transferred schools. I've been cut from teams. I played AA hockey until I went to junior and got a college scholarship out of it. So I've dealt with so much different adversity that my positive outlook has helped me so much throughout everything that I'll never change that. In my eyes, it's living in paradise every day, no matter how bad it gets.
Yeah, I think I agree with Hawk. Like I said before, I've always lived just controlling what I can control. When I was 16, I didn't worry, I used to worry about what other kids were doing, scholarships they got, they're going to these camps, and I was probably the worst player on my team. And then you turn around at 18 and so much happens over 2 years, and all of a sudden, I had a full scholarship to Ohio State. I was one of the better players on my team, and that was one of the biggest lessons was I just got to, trust the process, control what I control, and eventually it all works out for you.
That's cool. Came out at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I tell you what, I really appreciate it. I know we've got an event we're going to be talking about it as we wrap up on the walleyes coming up. We'll be down cheering you guys on, and really appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks so much.
Thanks
guys.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so we always have new stuff going around America's Retirement Headquarters that I'm definitely excited to continue to share and talk about. One of the things is we had a summer intern 5 years ago, Cody, who had come out and worked at our office, learned a little bit about, our industry. And we've been trying to do this summer internship program for probably the past roughly 8 years now. Getting into financial services is a very difficult business. There's a massive failure rate, and I think it's something that as I got into the business in high school, a month after I turned 18, I wanted to try to make sure that I gave back to an opportunity for people to learn about our industry. Well, things oftentimes come full circle because Cody went out and got what I would call some big boy jobs after college, got a lot of experience working in the marketing department. Most recently was working in the marketing team running Hollywood Casino, and I had an opportunity to have Cody come back and join our team. So Cody is here, and he's in charge of our business development. So, what he's going to be making sure of is, again, the communication goes out to you guys, make sure that you're plugged into everything that we have. So if you get a chance, Cody, you're in the back, you raise your hand. This is Cody back here. So make sure you say hi to Cody. We also continue to expand. As many of you know, we have several different offices across the U.S. Our most recent office that we opened up is in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Everything is bigger, they say, in Texas. So Josh Perkins flew in town to Texas. He's here spending some time kind of learning, again, what we do here in Toledo. Josh is in the back. He's a financial advisor just like us. He runs our Texas office. And of course, why he's in Toledo, Ohio, from Texas, I take him to Smoky Bones so he can get some Texas barbecue. Well, he's in Ohio, right? Makes perfect sense. The other thing is if you look at the things that we're doing in Toledo, as we become a successful business, I really want to continue to do a lot and be committed to the 419 and our area code and what we're doing here within Toledo. And we have had a lot of great things that have happened. Our radio show, if anybody here, how many here have listened to the radio show? All right. So we've been on the radio now a little over 20 years. We are still on WSPD radio. We're on Saturdays from 12 to 1 o'clock. So if you're in the car driving on a Saturday, you want to tune in the AM radio, WSBD, you can listen to our show each and every week that we publish. If we flash forward to today with technology, our radio shows are available on every major podcast that's out there. So if you have Apple, we're in the Apple podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on really any major outlet that you listen to. We also are on YouTube. What our show format is we're talking each and every week about what's happening in the economy and the markets. And then we dedicate 30 minutes every week to shows to focus on what is called Committed to the 419. What Committed to the 419 is not only our commitment on what we're trying to do to make an impact to our local community, we're also trying to spotlight other organizations and things that they're doing good stuff in the community. If anybody here is involved in an organization like a nonprofit or any type of organization that's trying to do good stuff within the 419, and you want to get some visibility within the Toledo market, we're on Toledo's largest talk station, and again, we have a pretty good following between our Facebook, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube channel. Make sure you let me know or let one of our team members know. We'd love to spotlight your company or organization that you're part of, that you're doing good things for. On our past shows, and if you miss any of these past shows, you can want to check them out. Any of those outlets, you can go back and look at these past shows. But you know what we did was Nature's Nursery. We did Humane Ohio. We had the first female chief of police from the Toledo Police and Fire, Allison Armstrong, came and joined us. Red Cross of Northern Ohio, Task Force 20, Let's Build Beds. And Hooves, we also had Hooves on that program here. And I know I had a chance to talk to some folks that are actively working with Hooves. A couple of people have actually been to Hooves. How many people know about Hooves? Okay, I got to spotlight Hooves just because I love Hooves, and I'm also their board president. So what we do is if you're not familiar with Hooves, we use rescue horses to rescue veterans. And we've had roughly 350 veterans who've come through our 4-day retreat. And what we do is we take veterans who ultimately have stress or suicidal tendencies, and we try to change the trajectory of where they're headed and try to create a program where they can figure out a blueprint for life and change and go in a different direction. And the stats on what we're doing are absolutely amazing. Amanda and the group, you know, they're getting about a 90% reduction in suicidal thoughts. And unfortunately, if you saw the stats, the numbers have gone up. The amount of people that are committing suicide is higher this year than it was last year. So we continue to try to stop that trend and move things in the right direction. If you are a veteran, if you know a veteran, and you know, don't keep it a secret and don't keep us a secret. We're here to help, and we're available anytime. Anybody can ever, need to reach out to me. You can reach out to me. I'll connect you with Hooves. We do have a retreat that's coming up. We're kind of ending our overall season. My wife and I, we just helped Hooves complete an event that we did, which was a fundraiser that we did called Yellowstone. If anybody's watched the TV hit series Yellowstone, we took the entire farm and turned it into the Dutton Ranch. And we just had an absolute fantastic time. And at the end of the day, we were able to help raise over $22,000 of net profit. That $22,000 paid 100% for 10 of our veterans to go through our next retreat and provide a year's worth of mentorship in what we're doing. So again, the Committed to the 419 is something that we're very actively involved in and we're committed to. And if you're doing good things, we'd love to hear about it as well.